Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Steve James, author, scriptwriter, healer, founder of Raw Attraction Magazine and the Heart Initiation Academy. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Thanks for having me on, AJ. It's a pleasure to be here.
You are welcome, and we'll be learning a lot of things from you, especially what you talk makes a lot of sense, not just to, in terms of attaining one's spiritual self, but even in terms of businesses, entrepreneurship. A lot of people are struggling to find their purpose, exactly what businesses should be all about. So, first to understand from you, Steve, is that you talk about healing. What healing are you talking about? I thought that we all are good human beings, fine human beings. Then where does this wound comes in? Where does this hurt come in? And then that needs healing before everything else, because we need to attain our spiritual self. Or even in business, a lot of people find those that they are at crossroads many a time because they have not been properly healed. I want to understand for the audience this healing from your perspective.
Well, I came to understand my own healing journey through relationships and relationships with a woman, because I'm a heterosexual guy. So when I approached relationships when I was younger, I'm 39 now. So, in my 20s, there was just a lot of heartbreak, a lot of pain going on inside my own being that I needed to heal, because I was coming in with different wounds. I couldn't communicate very well. I didn't have very good emotional mastery. I wasn't capable of being unconditionally loving at all times. I just wasn't capable of those things because I watched my parents kind of go through a big divorce, and I had all of that trauma to deal with, which I hadn't dealt with. And so I had to really go on my own journey to heal myself, not only on a psychological level, but also on a spiritual level and on a physical level, because there's various great books out there, but one of them that I really recommend is Waking the Tiger by Peter Levine, Dr. Peter Levine, and he talks about the trauma of the body and how animals in the wild, they will shake off their trauma, but humans actually won't shake off their trauma. So we have all this trauma collected not only in our body, but in our mind and our spirit. So we have to go on a journey if we want to have better relationships and happier lives, not only business relationships, but loving relationships and family relationships. All of your relationships need start with the self. So you need to go on this journey if you want to have a more healed and divine life. So it's almost impossibly rare for someone to come in and have the perfect childhood and the perfect situation where they don't need any healing. It doesn't really happen in this modern age because there's so much cultural influence on the family, and there's so much media influence on the family, which has affected all of us. So we need to recognize that and step out of it by following our hearts and going on this journey.
Right. So, what does following our heart mean? Is it about attaining a certain level in life where we are much more closer to God or the divine being that we may call in different ways that we call in today's life? So, because one is the healing part. You talked about traumas. I thought we humans have the tendency to keep memories. Why do we keep traumas more? And how do we segregate those things, happy memories, and keep the traumas away and keep happy memories so that we can move forward, in a better self? And secondly, when you talk of the spiritual self, then do you mean sometimes it may mean that okay, you are trying to go away from the daily, grind of life. You are moving towards, as if like you are trying to move towards priesthood. How do you look at that? Because in your book you talk about power, purpose, and pleasure, and then in general, day to day, we all want these things. We exert our power even in spirituality. If I understand, many a times you use that power, in a sense, for the benefit of others, for the benefit of the greater good. How do you look at this
Hmm.
whole aspect? Because many a times it becomes difficult to actually walk the path with so much of advice coming in. How did you find this path for yourself in your journey?
Well, it was a tough journey to find this path, and I've come through a shamanic process with a mentor and a guide for 7 8 years mostly. So when you talk about the spiritual self, the spiritual self is not separate from your self. It's part of yourself. I have this map on my website where it's the higher self is called the I am consciousness, and this is always with you. It's just a matter of us connecting in with it on a more meaningful level on a daily basis, which I go through in my meditations on my website. But therein lies the answer to your question, because it's not something you have to go on a priesthood journey. It's something that's always connected you at all times. So that when you do connect in with your higher self, you connect it with your heart and connect through your soul, because I think your heart is in fact the physical embodiment of your soul when you really tap into it. When you go on this journey to connect deeper with the higher self and deeper with the soul, then you will start aligning with your divine plan. And so I believe, and I've lived it, the fact that there is a divine plan, and there is a divine plan for all of us. And if we consciously engage with it on a daily basis, then we will start taking actions which lead to fulfilling this divine plan. And in my opinion, this divine plan is your individuated version of heaven on earth. So you'll create a business that aligns with your heaven on earth. There's plenty of entrepreneurs out there doing such things. I really like the guy who's doing the ocean cleanup around the world. I think his name Boyan Slat, and he started that at 17. Amazing. And there's plenty of entrepreneurs following the divine plan. It's just a matter of consciously engaging it a little bit more, and then we'll start having a better earth, a more peaceful earth, when we all start engaging with it. In terms of your first kind of question was about happier memories and trauma, and
Yes,
I
Steve.
mean it's a complicated question, but it's essentially still about connecting with your divine plan, because once you connect in with your divine plan, because that has all of your good on it, you will stop going into these traumatic memories, and you will stop making more trauma in your life, and a human will therefore live a better life when they start following their higher self and their divine plan. So it's not that uh, you will maybe forget all the bad memories and things like that. It's more that you will be living your purpose, and you won't think about them so much anymore. I mean, we've all got kind of bad memories, but we just choose not to think about them when we start following our hearts and we start following our purpose, because that service that we offer. I think Keanu Reeves is probably the best example of this that I can think of in the global sphere. Who's a celebrity? He's been, if you read his story, he's been through such amount of trauma. His wife died. I think one of his daughters died. He's been through. You wouldn't wish it on anyone, really. And yet that guy, he's a stand-up guy. He's so in service. He's so loving. It seems that it proves that no matter what you go through as a human, you can come out on the other side and be of service to others. And it's in that service to others, whether it's a business or in your family, that the value of your soul shines through, just as like it does with Keanu, or perhaps someone else in your life who went through a lot, but they came out and they served the others on the other side of it, because that was the best thing to do for their healing.
Right. Right, Steve. So, how do I know about my divine plan? Who tells me about that? Because when you talk about trauma, then a lot of those bad memories are of people who are mostly around you. Outsiders won't uh, be having that much of control on you. It does, but not too much. Okay, only when you grow up that that happens. So when the closest people around you can leave you with bad memories or not so good memories, then who is it that will tell me what exactly is my divine plan, especially when you are grown up? Is it somebody, again, outsider? How do you find the right person to tell, or it has to be your own journey of self discovery? And at the same time, even for entrepreneurs, now a lot of entrepreneurs are doing things, but we don't know. Most of the time we are listening about profits. So an entrepreneur, even if they want to do good or follow the right path of balancing profit with purpose, sometimes there are investors. Many a times you see that pressure is there. A lot of people just want profit for themselves. They may not want that spirituality for themselves. And unfortunately, you have interacted with them. You have taken money from them. So how do you still able to balance out things both from the personal level as well as the business level in terms of attaining your divine plan?
Well, this comes back to it being a very embodied experience, and that you have to go on a journey to heal your body, because you've got to, one, use your intuition, and then two, I also use finger dowsing, which is where you ask the universe yes no questions. For example, I could ask, is it aligned on my divine plan to get an investment from this investor? And then I ask my body, and if you're on the video, this is how I ask: finger through the fingers, and it's yes. And then if it breaks, it's a no, because your body becomes like, a dowsing tool. So to be good at dowsing, one, you have to connect it with your higher self, and two, you have to have a cleansed body. You have to go on a journey where you cleanse your body of toxins, of everything that needs to be cleansed, and then you learn dowsing. I'll soon have a course on my site with a doctor doing that, a Dr. Doug Lair, my friend. But you have to use your intuition. You can't just blindly go into investments which are no good for you. You either, if you can't connect with your intuition, and you can't connect with your higher self at the moment, find some mentor that does. Find someone that can advise you. And there are more conscious entrepreneurs out there. I follow one called Scott Oldford, and he's really good for small business and entrepreneurs. And he seems pretty damn aligned. So like, you have to find the right mentors, and don't blindly jump after profit. I haven't blindly jumped after profit ever in the last 20 years I've been in business. It's always been you know providing a valuable service with integrity. Never jump after profit, because it's a dark path to hell most times. Obviously, you need cash flow to run a business, and at the beginning stages, like any entrepreneur, you would have to ask your family, friends, perhaps do crowdfunding if you can. I think crowdfunding is actually a really good way to get investment, because one, you have to, and I've done it in the past. So I only raised like $17,000 when I first started the Heart Initiation Academy in 2015. But you have to put together a pitch, and you go on one of the websites to do crowdfunding, and if it's good enough, your pitch is convincing enough, then you'll get the money. And I think that's a good barometer for starting a business, because you will know, okay, these people seem to like my idea. I've got an MVP, a minimal viable product, and I put it together, and I've managed to raise 10,000, 100,000, million, whatever you need to go to the next stage. I think crowdfunding is actually a great way to start that. And yeah, that's what I would probably advise there. As for getting in touch with your divine plan and who's going to do it, I mean, I'm telling you now that it exists, and I wasn't the first person to say it exists. I first read it in a book like 12 years ago, and then my mentor guided me more, and it exists. So you need to take action to engage with it further. Again, I've got more free meditations on my website at heartinitiationacademy.com if you want to go there and check that out.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Tell us a bit about your book, about My Ecstatic Rebirth, the 10 keys to unleash your power, purpose, and pleasure. What is this book about? Though the title itself is giving a lot of clues, but to hear from you is different. You'll be giving better details, as well as who is this book for. If I'm correct, I can see that book in the background on your shelf.
Yeah,
Is it
yeah.
the same book?
Yeah, that's the book. Well, I give away the book also for free as an audiobook form, heartinitiationacademy.com. But the book itself, yeah, also comes in a hard book back, which is behind me. And it's essentially for anyone who's interested in going on a journey of self growth. Now, I was into self growth from a young age, probably 16 or something like that. But I didn't really find anything that was for me that was covering the things I needed to know. So I went on my own journey from 2012. It really started where I started my own kind of rebirth process. And for me, it became an ecstatic process because I was involved in different modalities that helped open up my body. I had this heart initiation experience on a workshop in Guatemala, which my heart lit up like a baked potato during some body work that I was receiving. And I had all of these kind of ecstatic experiences across the world as I went and met different mentors, different workshops. And my book is essentially those teachings that I've condensed down into 10 chapters, which first start with self-love, self-care, self-awareness, then healing the past, emotional mastery, communication mastery, understanding the inner feminine, masculine within our own beings. And then, we move on to unconditional love, creating a vision of the future, and sacred sexuality is the last chapter. So it covers kind of everything you need to know, whether you're single or in a relationship, to have a better relationship, not only with yourself, but everyone around you, including your intimate partner. So it's a book that really also dives deeper into understanding the higher self and divine plan and what that means. So it's really a condensed version of what I've learned since 2012, since going on my own journey of healing. And yeah, as I said, it's a free and audio book form, or you can get a hard book version where you can write inside. It's more like a journal, and you can connect with yourself a little bit more by answering the questions that I pose in the book. So yeah, hope that kind of gives you a summary.
Right, right. See, you do quite a number of things. Raw Attraction magazine. You are the founder of that. You also got the Steve Experience podcast, and then
Yep.
you are the founder of the Heart Initiation Academy. So, who are the people who can connect with you? What do you do at the Heart Initiation Academy, Raw Attraction magazine, and how can people connect with you about the podcast that you have, so that people can learn more about you and understand more about divinity and also about a purposeful life in general sense as well as in business.
Well, yeah. The Heart Initiation Academy is my main project at the moment. That is at heartinitiationacademy.com, and there's a quiz there that will help you understand yourself more. And at the end of the quiz, this takes about 2 or 3 minutes. You'll get my audio book and some meditations about the true divine self and about divine plan, which we've been talking about. The magazine I started in 2012. That we've got legacy issues available. I'm not actually publishing anymore because we went to focus on the Heart Initiation Academy, but the magazines are still available to download, and there's some free ones if you go to rawattraction.com. And then the Steve Experience podcast is my podcast, which we've had guests on like Teal Swan and JP Sears and others who leading the light in terms of love and intimacy and enlightenment conversations. So I recommend starting with the heartinitiationacademy.com and going from there, um, to start this journey to heal your heart, or further go on the journey if you're already on the journey and you want some more tools and guidance from someone like myself. We also work with 12, I think 12, no, 13 other experts on the Heart Initiation Academy. I'm not the only person teaching there, so we've got some great experts on there. Yeah.
Right, right. My last question to you, Steve, is that after going through your own share of difficulties and then rebuilding your life, finding yourself, now that you are in a, perhaps I if I can say, you are in a much better state and doing things that you
Mhm.
love. What is it that you now seek for yourself? Is there any particular goal? Is there a much more bigger purpose with you?
Uh, for myself, I just seek to be my fully show up every day, every moment, which I think I do all the time. If I don't, then I, figure out why very quickly. I mean, on a collective scale, then I would be seeking more peace and justice in the world. I think that needs to kind of happen for us to all move forward a bit more as a species. There's some things that haven't been great that have been happening the last years, and even right now as we speak, it's not particularly great in some countries. America looks like a big mess. I don't know what it's like where you are, but there's justice that needs to happen. So I'm seeking that within myself and for others. I mean, for everyone collectively, because I think it just needs to happen. So once that happens, I think we can start going on a deeper healing journey as individuals and as a species, and support each other, because I think the Garden of Eden, as noted in the spiritual text in the Bible, is this pure God and this, God's paradise, and then it has a wall around it, and I think that wall is the wall of justice. So we need to have that. So I'm seeking that personally and collectively. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. On this note, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.